Looks like Brandon Carlo, the reliable defensive defenseman, to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously,
Mystic Mike.
pending the trade call. And keep in mind, we'll say this a million times over, for those ones that come in right under the wire, you've got to make sure that everybody got it in on time. So let's pump the brakes on 100% because all signs point to Brandon Carlo being a Toronto Maple Leaf.
So Mike Johnson stands correct.
Yeah, we call him
too big in division.
For everyone watching on ESPN2, we call Mike Johnson Mystic Mike. He makes predictions before all of our hockey games, and you were saying just 5 minutes ago, Brandon Carlo is what the Toronto Maple Leafs need. What does Brandon Carlo do for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
He is a defensive, right shot, reliable, physical net front protector, and they've been looking for someone of that ilk to pair up in their top four with Morgan Rielly. And it's worked best the one time they got Luke Shen, when the one year they won the playoff series against Tampa. And he's got term for next year, so he's going to be around a little bit. He does a lot of the stuff that they were looking for, and he does it well. So, yeah, I mean, we said it 5 hours ago that Coyle and Carlo would be targets for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They didn't get both, but they got one. And the defense is almost more – it's more important that they got Coyle, respectfully to Scott Laughton. Of the two additions, Coyle is significantly more important to the Toronto Maple Leafs and their chances to compete.
Interesting.
I've always liked the way he plays, and how many years have I asked the Toronto Maple Leafs for some right-handed defensemen? It seemed like for the longest time it was lefty after lefty. They finally brought in Tanev, and it just goes to show you the change in the NHL. Can you imagine years ago, like trading with the division rivals, one guy going to the Florida Panthers and the other guy going to the Toronto Maple Leafs? And that's what Boston has ultimately done, though. I love Carlo's game. He's a big, strong, physical guy, and you just can't get enough of it back there.
I love the move. I love this move as well. You look at the teams that you're going to be going up against. You talk about the Sam Bennett's of the world. I love the fact that, you know, we're not talking about a puck-moving right-handed defenseman. We're talking about a shutdown defenseman that take care of the middle of the ice, box out, make a good first pass. You know, Gio, what that's like. So how important it is that you have those types of players on the back end come playoff time.
Yeah. More reaction to both of these trades, Carlo to Toronto and also Marchand from Craig Button and Jennifer Hedger.
Yeah, thanks very much. Craig's kind of like twitching and trying to get a word in edgewise over here.
I'm shell-shocked. I mean, these are really ground-moving transactions.
Let's start with Toronto. Toronto's a team that we've been looking at kind of all day as we watch Florida and Tampa making moves, bolstering their teams, and now Toronto coming in with Brandon Carlo, a defenseman, late.
Yeah, I don't really like the trade. No, I'm kidding. Listen, you know, you get a right shot defenseman, everything that was just said. You know, long defensemen that can take up space and shrink the ice in the playoffs become critically important to winning. It's a template that's not changing in the National Hockey League. So they get Tanev, who's an excellent defenseman, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. You got Morgan Rielly, who's got some help. You got Jake McCabe. Now you got Brandon Carlo. Bottom line is they're building the template to have success in the Stanley Cup playoffs against all those big players. The ice doesn't get bigger in the playoffs. It gets smaller. Your time doesn't get more. It becomes less. Brandon Carlo really helps this team. I think it's really, really significant. And keep in mind, Oliver Ekman-Larsson last year in Florida, he played bottom pair. He jumped up on the power play at different times, bottom. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson has that ability to swing back and forth. And Brandon Carlo, to me, is just an excellent fit here for the Toronto Maple Leafs.